Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all awesome and I hope you're enjoying my content. So, a lot of people have been asking me to share more information about myself, about my life, how I got to be to where I am, etc., etc. And in particular, they wanted to know about, how my family reacted when I told them I was pregnant and that sort of thing. So, what I thought I'd share with you is how different both my pregnancy announcements were. So, let me start. With Caleb, I fell pregnant in 2016, and Caleb's dad and I were together for a very long time. We were together at that time for about 7.5 years, and yeah, we had actually had this big public breakup and we reconciled, but we didn't tell anybody that we were reconciling. We were just trying to find ourselves again. Anyway, we reconciled, we were having a whole lot of fun. We were spending a lot of time together. And they always say when you duck and dive or keep things under wraps, it's always the best. So, anyway, I'm gonna just rest my hand here. I'm not using my tripod. At the time that I fell pregnant, I was living in Durban with one of my best friends, and it was the day after my birthday. And she had just randomly told me, you know what, she thinks she's pregnant and she wants to take a pregnancy test. And she said, will you take a pregnancy test with me? So I thought, okay, what the hell, no problem. Yeah, sure, you need the moral support. I'll take a pregnancy test with you. So I had gone and gotten the pregnancy tests. I think they were the clear blue ones, it's got the indicator. And anyway, so it was a work day. I had gone to one of the shopping malls, got a pregnancy test, and we both took these pregnancy tests. And like 3 minutes later, we checked the results, and mine says pregnant 6 weeks plus. And my mind was blown. It was really unexpected. I was very happy. I had wanted a baby for forever. My partner at the time, I mean, we were engaged, we had broken off our engagement, we had gotten back together. So we had wanted a baby for a very long time and we were trying and it just never happened. And then, boom, it happened. So I was overjoyed. Caleb's dad was overjoyed. It was something that I had wanted for a long time. So anyway, I didn't tell my family immediately. I had actually told one of my cousins, and she's Caleb's godmother, and we're very, very close. So I remember telling her, you know what, I've got something to tell you, and I'm pregnant. And, it was just all exciting emotions. And it was the booking of the first scan, going to your gynecologist or your obstetrician appointment, whichever you want to call it. And anyway, let's just fast track. So her sister was pregnant and we were planning a baby shower for her, and it was in June, which was smack in the middle of winter for us here in South Africa. So I remember I had gone down to my cousin's house, and for many weeks prior to this, she and I kept discussing how we were going to tell my mom. And the reason why I was nervous about telling my parents is because they knew that Caleb's dad and I had split, we had broken up, and they didn't suspect, or maybe they did, I don't know, they didn't suspect that we were back together. And I used to sit on the couch watching reality TV, like I didn't know I was pregnant, how I told my mother I was pregnant, 16 I'm pregnant. And I used to think, oh my god, I'm going to get tips from this, and this is how I'm going to announce it to my family that I'm pregnant. So anyway, I used to sit there and I used to chat to my cousin, and I used to say, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to tell her today. I think I'm going to tell her. I finally plucked up the courage. I'm going to tell mom. And, I was working and I was living on my own. So it wasn't one of those things where they were going to say, how could you? You're not old enough. You're not responsible. You're not financially stable, whatnot. So anyway, we planned that I was going to tell them at my cousin's baby shower. So I had gone down to my cousin's place on a Thursday. We were planning this baby shower. My cousin went into false labor the Saturday, or was it the Friday? I can't even remember. So it's really exciting times. So anyway, the baby shower came. It was a Sunday. Baby shower was over. All my family was there. All my mom's sisters, my cousins, everyone was there. So I said, you know what? All of us always sit in the room. We have this tradition. All the ladies will go and sit in the room and we'll talk and we'll catch up. And it's just something we always do. So I said, you know what? I'm going to announce it now. I'm going to tell them now. I've got something to tell you because everybody's there. So my mom is going to have to, like, she won't react. She won't react the way I think she's going to react. She'll compose herself, or she won't go ape shit. So anyway, I go into the room. My aunties are all there, my cousins are there, and I say, you know what? I've got something I need to tell you guys. And they thought I was going to tell them something about my cousin. And they're like, yeah, so what is it? And I rattled on, I like rambled on, and I was like, no, so I went to the doctor and I did no, so I did a pregnancy test and it says that I'm pregnant. And I went to the doctor and they confirmed it, and the baby is growing, the yolk sac, blah 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 blah. I like just bombard. I'm sorry, I'm laughing like this, but it's hilarious. I bombarded them with all of this information, and my mother was sitting there and she looks at me and she's like, but how? Oh my God. And obviously, I didn't go into how, but I'm like, what do you mean, how? She's like, with who? And then I said Caleb's dad's name, and they were like, but we thought you guys broke up, and how did this happen? And I was like, oh my God, you must go and get married. You're going to go get married now. That's it. I've had enough. I don't want to hear any more about this. You're going to go and get married. So, anyway, unfortunately, at that time, Caleb's dad and I had broken up. We had split. There was just so many issues going on, but that's not a discussion for today. But anyway, that's how I told him. And my mom, like, she started crying and she stopped. Like, a few tears came down her face, and she's like, I'm so disappointed. And then she went into the bathroom and she came out, and then she was fine. Look, the thing is, I was 28 at the time. I wasn't a small girl. I wasn't, like I said, not independent and not working. But the rest of my family was like, oh, so lovely, so exciting. Yay, it's another baby. And then my mom was like, okay, we'll talk about this when we get home. And I said, okay, well, look, I'm not coming back to your place today. I'm going to stay in Pietermaritzburg. I'll see you tomorrow. And then I've got to go back to my own place because I've got to work in the week. So that was Caleb's pregnancy announcement. After that, everyone was like cool about it. They were so supportive. They were actually so loving and so nurturing, and I got 100% of the support that I needed. Caleb's dad and I were speaking because I was obviously pregnant, and I had told him, you know what, I've told my family. He didn't tell his family immediately. That's that's another story on its own. But that was that announcement. For Alexia's pregnancy announcement, it was totally different. Now, mind you, Alexia's dad and I were dating, also sort of engaged, because we were planning our wedding. We had met, and things sort of moved very quickly with us. We had met, we had started talking about a wedding. We were planning it for April of the next year. We knew what we were doing. We were sort of living together as well. So you would have thought that this would have been better. Anyway. So I had taken a pregnancy test, and I had actually taken a pregnancy test 4 weeks prior to the main pregnancy test, and it was negative. And I thought, okay, you know what, maybe I'm just late for my period. Did I have no, sorry. So with Alexia, I was breastfeeding Caleb, so I never got my period. So I really didn't think that I was actually ovulating. I didn't think I could fall pregnant. So biggest mistake ever. Anyway, so that's why I wasn't as cautious. And I had taken a pregnancy test because I was very fatigued. I was tired, I was bloated, I had the pregnant symptoms. And the test was negative, so I didn't think anything about it. And then about 4 weeks later, I decided to take another one, and I said, you know what, I don't feel right. I had all the symptoms of being pregnant, and the second pregnancy test said pregnant 3 to 4 weeks. So I thought, okay, you know what, it's fine, breathe, we'll handle this. Now, my mom didn't really, and still doesn't, like Alexia's dad, and she's well within reason. She's got good reason not to like him. Most people don't. And I just said, okay, you know what, we are planning a wedding, we are together. It's maybe they'll handle this one better because they know that this is where we're heading. We've got a direction that we're moving towards. And we had planned to tell my mom towards the end of October. We planned to tell her over a weekend when it was just the two of us. And it just so happened that the weekend before that, my family from Johannesburg came down, as well as my cousin. And she's there for every pregnancy announcement. She's my pillar of strength, let me tell you. So again, she knew about it because I discussed everything with her, and we were planning, okay, how are we going to tell her? And she had said, you know what, I'll actually come up to where you guys are. I'll come up to you and we'll tell your mom. So anyway, our family came down from Johannesburg. It was unplanned, so we all had like a family gathering at my house. And anyway, we were all having a good evening. My family was having drinks, we were eating. It was just really a nice social gathering. And I don't know what got into Alexia's dad, but he just blurts out to my mother, you know what, Auntie Nisha, Chanel's pregnant and we'll sort everything out. Oh my God. And I think I was sitting in the room with Caleb because I was making him sleep. And my cousin comes running into the room and she's like, you know what? He told your mom you're pregnant. And all I heard was my mom saying, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And that was it. Her tone of voice just said it all. And that night, he had actually even called my dad and told my dad that I was pregnant. Anyway, my dad took it a bit better because I think dads are just cooler. Even when it came to Caleb, when I told him I was pregnant, he just said, "Okay, look, I'm just a bit surprised because I thought that you and Caleb's dad broke up." But he was fine. You know, he handled it better. Same with Alexia. With my mom, it was completely different. All hell broke loose. It was like something out of a movie. It was like, oh, I can't even go into the details of it, but let me tell you, it was not good. I had to literally chase Alexia's dad out of the house because he was so out of line. He was just talking nonsense. Look, he wasn't in his right frame of mind. He had had too much to drink. He was just like, you know, when a dam's wall bursts, the floodgates burst, and all this nonsense keeps coming out. Yes, that was him. And my mom was irate. She was beside herself, shouting, screaming, blah. Anyway, it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. And I think for me, the craziest thing is that I was in a relationship. We were planning a wedding. People knew about us. Whereas with Caleb's dad, we had broken up and everybody knew we broke up. But I think it's also everyone knew Caleb's dad for years. They knew him, they know what he's about. And then there's this guy who blurts out something while he's intoxicated. And, you know, he's not respecting me, not respecting my mom, not respecting us in our home. And he conveys this message in front of my entire family and not in the right manner. So I think that was the main thing. It's the way in which he did it. So it was chaotic. My mom was shouting. She was like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. How could you? So angry. I'm so disappointed. And those were not the words she used. There were other words that we used. I just can't repeat them. But that is how my pregnancy announcements differed. It was like chalk and cheese. I'm going to do another video of how my pregnancies were different because they were very different. And you know, it was very emotional. Both were very emotional, but different kind of emotions. But yeah, it was soon after that Alexia's dad and I had also split, and there's just more underlying reasons. I don't really have to get into it too much. It was just that he wasn't the person I thought he was. You know, you fall in love with somebody thinking that this is who they are, and then you actually find out that they've hid so much, they've lied about so much, and they're not the guy that you actually want to spend your life with or have children with or even have a family with. And as difficult as the decision was to continue with my pregnancy alone, I decided to do it on my own. I mean, I had done it before. I'm a strong woman. I've been raised by a strong woman. I could do this. It was just very disappointing to know that the person you think they are turns out to be something totally different and something totally not what you want or would ever have considered. So yeah, anyway, that was my pregnancy announcements. It's so crazy.